Welcome to Isaiah's Reviews Podcast. My name is Isaiah. My co-host name is Sam. You can get to all my social site links through my website, isaiahsreviews.com. You can get to Sam's social links through his website, flipframevideos.com. You can also hire Sam because he runs a small video production company. So if you need anything done, weddings, home tours, music videos, and more, just go there. Listen to this podcast on YouTube, Facebook. You can stream it off the website, isaiahsreviews.com, Tumblr, and SoundCloud, and Spreaker. So now let's get this show on the road. Hey guys, welcome to Isaiah's Reviews, and of course my name is Isaiah, and I am a loner today. Sam's not here, it's just me by myself, so I'm going to talk kind of openly and candid about what I got going on, what's on my mind, maybe dabble up into some movies and stuff like that. Along the way, nothing too terribly crazy or unorganized, I hope. But right now, I did some research the other night on video recorders off of camcorders or DSLRs, because I have a Sony A7, and if I record for a period of time, well, it ends up overheating. It's got a full frame sensor, mirrorless sensor inside of it, so it's a pretty awesome camera. It does a beautiful job of filming, but I think you can only film like 30 minutes max or something like that, and every 10 minutes it creates a new folder or something like that based on size. So it's a little aggravating to deal with. So I've been, for the past month, I guess, I've been looking at Atomos recorders, and basically what you do, as long as you got a clean HDMI out on your camera, and that means that it's not going to have anything on it, just the picture, just the screen of what it sees, a nice clean HDMI out on your camera, camcorder, or whatever, you can record to an external recorder that would be, recorded onto an SSD or an SD card. And I'll get to that in a minute, because if you know external recorders, you're probably thinking SD card, who wants to do that? But I'll explain in a minute. So I'm looking really hard. I think I've made a decision on the external recorder I want. But first, I was wanting to go over with you formats and what codecs are, or containers, or what formats are, or containers can be called, containers or formats, and codecs inside those containers or formats. It's very confusing. The industry's made it pretty doggone confusing. You've got AVI, which is like a Microsoft standard from old age, and you've got MOV, which is the Apple side of it. But you can have, on the MOV side, or QuickTime, you can have these different codecs on the inside of that. And basically what that is, if you've got another format, AVCHD, you could have a codec inside that, H.264 codec, or some kind of MP4 or MKS or whatever it is codec inside of the AVCHD, which that person would need that codec to view that footage. So if you're on Windows and you're doing an MOV or QuickTime video and you give it to somebody that has a Mac, it just may not by chance be compatible, because there may be some kind of codec inside that, which they would have to go and download to be able to play that. But then you got MPEG or MPEG video files. You got MPEG 1, MPEG 2, different codecs inside that. You got MP4. And this also goes along with Bluetooth as well. You'll have Bluetooth, and then you'll have these codecs, which is EDR, aptX, and all this stuff which helps give you that CD-like quality. So you'll have a flat format, Bluetooth. If you see Bluetooth, you're thinking, oh, it's all the same. Well, it's not. You've got these codecs inside, which will actually improve your sound quality, and that's one thing I always look for. aptX, EDR, or EDDR, those can produce really good CD quality sounds. And I'll get to a little bit more about the Bluetooth side of things with some stuff I've got coming up. But let's go into the two things, the external recorders that I had in mind. And I want to share this information with you because it's kind of new-ish to me, like 6 months to a year ago. Kind of started learning about these external recorders after I started having overheating issues, and just dealing with DSLRs for recording is kind of a pain in the butt. Camcorders are the way to go, but those things are like 3 times the price of a DSLR, and you can get better footage. With a DSLR, they're just not made for recording. These external recorders will give you what it was you kind of cheat the system or cheat what they want you to be able to do with them, and you can get really awesome quality out of it. So Atomos has a Ninja blade. It has a screen on it. The screen's a lower resolution. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but it takes SSDs. Those are new kind of drives. They're diskless drives, and they're really fast. You can download, you can read and write off of them really, really, really fast, and they're awesome for your computers. They're going to be the new standard in the future. But this is $495 for this Ninja blade. They also have like Ninja 2, which is a little bit less. I think it's almost $300, and then they have one without a screen, which is pretty cheap as well. The downside to it, I like to shoot in 1080p 60 frames per second. This will not do that. It'll only do 1080i at 50 frames or 60 frames per second, depending on what region you're from. And then I stumbled across this beauty last night, which is the BlackMagic Video Assist. Now, this is a new external recorder or just a monitor, depending on how you want to look at it. But it looks really, really good. And it doesn't record to an SSD, it records to an SD card, which you'll need a high-end SD card, and the one that they recommend for that one is a Kingston Pro 128 gig SD card, and I think it has a read and write speed of like 90 or 95 megabytes per second, which in SSD terms is not all that fast, because even in compact, like, all right, let's talk about SD cards. Like, what small memory cards can you get for things? Well, you've got, of course, the SD cards that we're talking about there. You've got compact flash. You've got micro SD cards. So these are all small devices currently in use today. You can get the read speeds for an SD card up to 285 megabits per second. You can get a write speed of 180 megabytes per second. And that's about the fastest you're going to get on an SD card. But they're coming out with stuff all the time, so BlackMagic may know something. I don't know about the industry and the turn it's going to take. I'm under the assumption that we're probably going to go to a different card style, but that'd be difficult to do because, the market's saturated with everything that uses SD cards. And then you've got this compact flash, which it'll read and write pretty decent, but mainly those are for DSLRs. A lot of times those will have those, and the micro SD cards, they'll read 90, 95 megabytes per second, which this SD card they recommend will do. But your SSDs, they'll be up in the 400s and 500s, so you can see how much better it would be to be able to record onto those. But then you got to pull this big thing out, dock it. These little SD cards, they're not that bad. SSDs are kind of cheap too. I think I saw one 240 gig. I think it was like $70 for a decent name brand on the SSD side. But the one that they recommend, the 128 gig SD card, I found it for $64. That's 128 gigs. They're saying that this is what you can record to on the BlackMagic Assist. It says you can do ProRes 422 HQ at 1.5 hours on this 128 gig card. You can do DNX HD at an hour and a half. You can do ProRes 422 at 2.43 hours. You can do ProRes LT at 3.47 hours and ProRes Proxy at 7.9 hours, all on that 128 gig card that they recommend from Kingston. So that gave me, and you can also on this BlackMagic, it will do 1080p, not 1080i, at 60 frames per second. So that to me was the deal breaker. It kind of sealed the deal, and they've kept it the same price as that Atomos. The only thing different is you can get external batteries for this BlackMagic, but it doesn't come with it. They just take the Canon ones. I forgot the model number on those batteries, but they're just the standard old Canons that pop in the back of everything else. So you can get a pair for like $18, I think it is. And it does have an HDMI out, in and out, an SDI in and out. I think it's a mini SDI on the monitor itself. But it's got a full touch screen. It's got a full 1080p screen, which is better than the Atomos one. It's just like the interaction of the screen is just like a cell phone would be, which I've heard the Atomos, you have to push a lot harder on there, and if you've got something set up and you got it mounted on top of your camera, you can manipulate your camera a little bit when you may not want to because it's not as touch sensitive. So it was nice to see this come along for the same price, and so I'm going with that one. I think I'm under assumption. So what you'll do is you'll just connect your HDMI out to your DSLR, connect it to the in on your monitor external recorder. In my case, it's going to be the BlackMagic Video Assist, and then you just you make sure your settings in your DSLR or HDMI out is going to be clean, and your DSLR has a clean HDMI out, and then you just push record, and that's it. It won't overheat. It'll pull the footage right off the sensor, so there's no compression. That's why I went over those codecs, because the codecs exist to compress but give as good quality as humanly possible. That's why we've had Sony and Panasonic kind of team together to do the AVC HD kind of thing, because they want to be able to compress it and get it onto something usable, because if you don't compress it, it takes up an enormous amount of space. So they kind of partner together. Hey, what's the best video footage that we can compress, that we can have in a format and we can compress down? And that's where AVC HD come along with the H.264 and things like that. So it gives you a manageable file size, but the best possible picture quality. But you're hurting yourself because you're not getting the actual best footage that your camera can produce, and with an external recorder you can, because it pulls it right off the sensor. So I wanted to share that with you. It's kind of long-winded description. I hope it wasn't too unorganized, because I am just kind of spilling this out at random. But I went with the BlackMagic one over the Atomos, because Atomos is smart with their advertising. What they've done is they've grabbed a hold of a lot of the YouTubers that handle camera reviews, or they do something with this kind of environment in this territory, and they've sponsored them. They've gotten them to talk about their product, and they've really gotten it out there. You can also get one, you can get them without screens, and there's a bunch of different brands that exist. BlackMagic has like a something deck shuttle 2 or shuttle deck or whatever it is, and it takes the SSD right into the side of it, but there's no monitor on it. And I like the fact that I have an external monitor for my camera already, but this one's a lot better. It shows your histogram in the bottom left. It's got your vocals. It'll show you if you've got an external mic connected, where your levels are. And it's just the whole environment of that monitor is a lot better, and it gives a better resolution at that 1080p. So, and it will downscale from 4K to this monitor on the BlackMagic Video Assist as well. So right now, my opinion, even though it does take an SD card, it's probably the best route to take as far as external recorders go for the price. Anyway, enough about that kind of stuff. What other gadget news because we possibly have that's better than that? Well, the Apple Watch Hermes collection is coming to Apple's website, and it does look pretty neat. It's got like this brown band, and it's been a rare, expensive fashion accessory that Apple has announced. It's a limited edition partnership, so if you're into that stuff, we'll expect to see that. Leica introduces a new underwater camera as well. And now I saw this, I guess it was last week, the end of last week, and I was like, man, that looks awesome. And it's completely, underwater and, of course, waterproof, but it's got a 16.5 megapixel APS CMOS sensor on it. It's got a fixed Leica lens on there, but the lens, it has a flash built into the front of the lens, like where your lens hood would be or something right at the top. And I thought that was a pretty neat touch, but it's going to be about $3,000 for it right now, so expect to spend some money on it if you want it. And let me see what else we could possibly have in the world of everything tech. Well, that's pretty much about it. Let's go to what's coming out to Amazon Prime in February. Now, I always like to stay up on top of what releases on the Prime or Netflix. So I thought, hey, let me share what's going to come out in February for Amazon Prime and Netflix. So what can you look forward to February 1st? A Better Life. is coming to Amazon Prime. Amy, the story of Amy Winehouse. Batman, the 1989 starring Michael Keaton. Deliver Us from Evil, the 2014 starring Eric Bana. How to Steal a Millionaire. The Kings of Summer. Like Sunday, Like Rain. Lost in Translation. Men in Black, starring Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones. It's a good one. It's a classic. Night Watch, 2004. Nintendo Quest. A gaming enthusiast sets out with his friends for a road trip, hoping to buy all 678 officially licensed Nintendo games in 30 days or less. The Fifth Element. The Fury, starring Kirk Douglas. The Karate Kid, the 1984 one. The Truth About Emmanuel. To Be or Not to Be, that's 1983, Mel Brooks. 12 O'Clock High, starring Gregory Peck. Walking Ned Divine. And then February 2nd, we're going to get Adeline. Paul Dark Season 1. I've never seen that. I might check it out since Season 1's hit. So, The Identity Theft of Mitch Mustaine. February 4th is Talladega Nights. Girls Season 2. Solomon Kane, The Newsroom, American Season 3, February 16th, The New Yorker presents Season 1, February 21st, Love and Friendship, February 24th, Digging for Fire, and the 29th, Inequality for All, a documentary that follows former U.S. Labor Secretary Robert Reich. So, yeah, there you go. It's kind of long-winded, but that's what you can expect from Prime. Now, what's going to happen on Netflix, because they kind of seem to steer different of each other, which is good. February 1st is Bleach, the movie. Departures, Season 1 and 2. Magic City, Seasons 1 and 2. MASH, Seasons 1 through 5. Spartacus, Complete Series. Dark Ride. Grim Shelter. Gucci, the director. Hot Pursuit. Houseboat, Into the Blue 2, Joe, King Arthur, Now in the Wings on a World Stage. That's a 2014 thing. Proof, The Brothers Bloom, We Could Be King, We're No Angel. February 5th, and Zapped. February 5th, The Little Rascals Saved the Day. It's 2014. February 6th is Ever After High, Spring Sprung, Unsung. I don't know why I said sprung. Danger 5 is a TV series, apparently. February 7th is Dead Snow, Red vs. Dead. I've seen that. That's pretty good. Elsa and Fred. Blood Ties, Catch Hell. Dwight Howard in the Moment. Mr. Peabody and Sherman. Those are always kind of fun to me. Young Ones, The Two Faces of January, Scary Movie 5. Who does people watch those anymore? or have they gotten better? I hope so. Mako Mermaid Season 2. I don't know what that is. Save the Date. The Overnighters. Earth to Echo. In Secret. The Fluffy Movie. White Bird in a Blizzard. Richie Rich. RoboCop. 1000 Times Goodnight. Hawaii Five-0. Seasons 1 through 4. Open Windows. Russell Brand. Messiah Complex. It's a comedy special. Boys. House of Cards, Ralphie May, Unruly comedy special. So that's the long-winded-ish release dates. Now, that's not all of them for Netflix because I'm not going to go through them all, or Amazon Prime for that matter, but that'll give you a little taste to get you into the month itself. And then what movies do we have releasing this week? Well, we have Laser Team, and I brought this up last week, even with the bad audio that we had last week, which, by the way, is fixed, and what I had to do to fix that was I had this driver which pulled a Skype call in and put it into the program I'm using to record. I forgot what it was called, but I thought the driver had been corrupted somehow, so I would, uninstall, download, uninstall, install, back and forth. I'm like, man, why has it got this noise? I don't know what it is. And at the time, I didn't know what other good drivers were available to do that. But I found one after the fact, tested it, and it works. So from now on, should have good audio unless the same thing happens again. Fingers crossed. But anyway, Laser Team. The description for this, the storyline. After billions of years of thinking we're all alone in the universe, we decode a message in the 60s telling us we're not alone and that the universe is a dangerous place and that we are going to be attacked. Luckily, the coded message came from a friendly alien race that fathered and protected us over the years, and now they're giving us the tools to fight back in the form of power armor. But the delivery service takes a long time, I'm assuming over 30 minutes, because they get the suit for free. I don't know, that's in parentheses. And during those long decades waiting for that cargo ship to arrive with their one power suit, they choose a champion of Earth to train to wear the suit and defend the Earth. Then the ship finally arrives, only to get shot down by 4 morons who play with the suit and ultimately get one piece of the suit stuck to them. Now they need to work with the government to train these 4 morons with individual pieces attached to them. Will they save the day, or will they stand contemplating life? So this is from Rooster Teeth, some guys that have, if you look up Rooster Teeth on YouTube, they'll have a channel there. They're kind of like an alternate Broken Lizard, and it's actually gotten good reviews. There's a few user reviews out for it, and it's nailed it seems like. So I'm excited to see this comedy, because I was a big fan of Broken Lizard in their heyday, because it seemed like they were coming out with good stuff all the time, and I was like, wow, that's pretty funny. Of course, was it Super Troopers or whatever's coming out with another one? So we should be able to see them possibly have a comeback to the Funny Zone. I'm hoping. That'd be nice. Let's see, the 29th, which is, 29th would be Friday. This coming Friday, we've got 50 Shades of Black. That is a comedy, speaking of that comedy movie earlier, 50 Shades of Black, which has got, it's got Marlon Wayans in it. Of course, it's making fun of 50 Shades of Grey, so hopefully that'll be okay. I'm not sure if there's any early reviews out for this thing, but a lot of times you can just go off yourself and not reviews, and you may totally disagree with somebody else's review. But The Finest Hours comes out, Kung Fu Panda 3, Jane Got a Gun, The Hollers, which is going to be a Sundance Film Festival release, Greater, the Revised Fundamentals of Caregiving, and that's a Sundance Film Festival thing. I don't know why that was in this group. The Clan, which is a limited release. Mountain Men, which has a 2014 year release, but apparently it's going to be released somewhere. And Everybody's Fine. Yeah, I think that's about it for this week on the movie releases. So yeah, what I've got going on with the YouTube channel, which I have. If you don't know, wherever you're listening to, you can go to Isaiah's Reviews, search that on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe, and make sure whenever you watch a video, hit like, because you know what likes do? That causes those to be in the top of the search. So when somebody searches something that has a tag word of mine in it, if I've got a lot of likes for it, it'll pop up first. So I'll get higher views for the videos if you like it, pretty much. So basically what I've got coming is B-Tunes. Now, this is made by a Kickstarter company, which I'll get into greater detail about this come the video time, which will be probably a couple weeks away, because the wife wants to paint 2 rooms in the house, a fireplace, and hang a chandelier. So I've got to do that on my days off, so I may not be producing any content. This is probably the last content that gets produced this week. So next week I'll dive back into video producing again. And but anyway, B-Tunes. These are really, really awesome. And I love being able to promote a Kickstarter, because Kickstarters are pretty cool. They're individuals who have a passion about the product. A lot of times you can communicate with them openly and freely. They'll make updates to stuff if it's updatable, firmware, whatever, because they're Kickstarters. They're new, so they actually have a passion and a drive where some companies don't. But anyway, B-Tunes, you can get these in 3.5mm and 2.5mm. What are they? Well, they'll turn any headset into Bluetooth headsets. This is amazing, but I've tested them out. I've been testing them out for about a week or two, and the highest volume level on my phone, that is, when I use it, is about my normal listening volume. So luckily, I'm happy. So if you needed it louder than that, you may think the volume is low. Now, it kind of looks like one of those old school Bluetooth earpieces, and it can be used as a mic as well. It's rechargeable. I forgot how long exactly it's supposed to last, but you remember we were talking about those codecs within formats. So we got a Bluetooth format. Well, this carries with it an audio codec of aptX AAC, and this will provide CD quality wireless streaming, and it's got Bluetooth version 4.0. The versions of Bluetooth, by the way, I think with the newest 4.0, you can have a couple devices connected to something at the same time. So that's what those improvements do to that. And codecs help improve the quality of the sound. So this will provide up to 10 hours of audio through this. So charging time of 2 hours is what it says. So that's pretty cool. I'm excited about it. And I'll go ahead and give you a little teaser. It does sound freaking awesome, by the way. And let's see what some other things I may want to bring up. I don't want to spoil much stuff. I think that was a big spoiler there. I've got a headphone amplifier. I don't know if you listen to music on headphones, speaking of this Bluetooth stuff, you may want to consider an amplifier. I found one that I really, really like. It's really affordable and cheap. You can buy those things anywhere from $30 to $50 if you're kind of savvy on your... Oh, I know one thing I was going to bring up is I was contacted, speaking of kind of Kickstarters or young companies, I was contacted to do a product review. Now, I've done a lot of LED lamps for whatever reason. I have no idea how I've become this LED lamp king, but I've probably done a dozen, I guess, or so, or almost a dozen, something like that, of LED lamps. And a majority of them are sort of copycat things of other things, and I don't like that. And I did that early on, and I kind of didn't like it, so I stopped. I would this year I'm going to be picky and choose about what I'm going to do. But I got contacted by this company, and an individual, the owner of the company. They're from China. They're a young business. They have patents on all three of their designs that they have. They're not copying anybody. It's completely an original design. So I went and I read up on the guy, and I read up on the company. You can go to the website and read up on it and stuff. It's a small little factory, like a mom and pop type looking thing. So I responded, well, yeah, I'll review your product. So I have that sitting here next to my desk. So that's going to be up for review along with these Bluetooth headphone thingies. And I like promoting stuff like that and helping somebody out that puts forth the effort to make something original. I find that really awesome and cool to be able to do that. And I think they deserve some attention for it. And I can't stand somebody that rips somebody off. That's just ridiculous. But anyway, this is the end of my rambling for an entire almost 30 minutes or so. Thanks for watching. Be sure to, if you want to stream this, you can stream it off the website. The website is semi-under construction, but I'll come out with a YouTube video that will go into great detail about the future of this channel for this year. I want to do that before February, but it may be right there at the beginning of February. And from the continuation from that point on, that's whenever the website will officially be active. And by active, I mean there's a deal of the day up there at the top. That'll be updated every day at noon. I was contemplating midnight, but I was like, man, I can't stay up at midnight, or I want to be able to find the best possible deal at that point whenever a new one pops up. And noon, I feel like regardless of where I am, I can throw that on the website from my phone if need be. And yeah, so noon, that'll be updated every single day with one of my favorite deals of that day. And also you can stream this from the website. All the content will be fresh and new. So the website will be active right after the YouTube video comes out explaining my goals and what to expect from the channel. It's going to be big improvements. The quality of the video work on this year's channel will improve, 5 times probably. I don't know about that, but it'll improve a lot. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe to Isaiah's Reviews on YouTube. Helps me out a lot. Like, share, all the stuff I do. Gets me to places I can't get to on my own. I really do appreciate it. And thanks for listening to Isaiah's Reviews podcast. And thanks for subscribing to Isaiah's Reviews YouTube. See ya.